speaking, just ending on a white perspective, you know, the thing that white people fear most is unity of Black people. If Black people unified, it would actually wipe out whiteness completely. And that, to me, if I have sent any message in my writings, it's to speak about that. The other thing, just as I finish, is that what we have is unfortunately a sheepish, what Biko spoke about is a sheepish mentality amongst an older generation of Africans, because particularly of apartheid suppression, that most Black leaders are so happy to just eat the crumbs at the master's table. And that table has to be destroyed. That table belongs to Africans. And what I would also like to see, just that, and this is my final note, is that I think not enough is spoken about the terrible cultural genocide and erasure that has taken place on a continent that has the richest and most beautiful culture, not such a powerful introduction to a revolutionary era. And perhaps in the words of the great Thomas Sankara, who I may misquote, please forgive me, but let us dare to invent the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kim Heller. That was Kim Heller, the author of the book White Lies. If you haven't read the book, it's something that you probably should make a note of doing. It's available on Amazon. So before over to Dr. Njenje, who is from Kenya, as you may have noticed. And when Ali and I were putting how managed to put together a Pan-African space without representation from a region of Africa that has 560 million, which as you do. So, you know, I'm very grateful to her for accepting my invitation at the very last minute. I know it's not the easiest thing to sort of go through this amount of information and come up with something to say in a short space of time. So I'm not going to put you on the spot by giving you any specific thematic point to speak on, but obviously you've seen the agenda of this space and you're free to offer your thoughts. So over to you.
Peace, greetings, and revolution to everyone. Thank you for having me on this forum. I was going to come anyway. I just look forward to Pan-African spaces because I think from this side of the continent, we are quite starved of these conversations. So I wanted to pick up on what two things which were mentioned, especially by the last two speakers. For me, my research concern for the last 10 or so years has been education. I've been asking, what is it that this Western school system does to us? And I know we've mentioned our concern about Burkina Faso and the AES having to have resort to military interventions because that is the point which the West is using as leverage to divide Africans, and I'm just going to get to that in a moment. But I wanted to say that one of the reasons why I truly sympathize with the three states in having to resort to military intervention is because there is a group of people that is a weak link in most African countries and that is rarely discussed, and which is the educated Africans. The Africans who have been to school, who have been raised to expect that their education makes them deserve to be rewarded by the society, and especially through the state. And even Ibrahim Traoré has talked about this. He calls them les esclaves de salon. sort of like the slaves of the salon, the people who think that they are so educated and they are the ones who should advise the rest of the uncivilized Africans about what to do in the modern world. And actually, this was also a weak point for the Sankara government, especially because Sankara had I think he had reduced the number of salaries, imposed a kind of austerity on the civil service. And that actually is a big problem, especially when we are talking about Kenya and East Africa, because this kind of bourgeois mentality of feeling that people need to be rewarded for having gotten certificates from the Western school is part of sort of the entry point for the West. So this is something that we need to be careful about. Um, and educated Africans seem to be very good at camouflage and being anonymous, and yet they are so active behind the scenes. And this is a conversation we've had with David also on my channel. And later on, he uncovered what USAID was doing, especially so-called training journalists, and those are the people who tell the stories. And those, unfortunately, many of them are trained in Western kind of reporting. So we need to be aware that this is one of our weak points, including including myself. I'm not distancing myself from that group, but I think I'm aware that we are a group with very many contradictions. And so even when you look at the story of how Traoré decided he'd had it and he would lead a coup, is because of this bureaucratic mentality where the people in power at the time were not taking it seriously, what was happening with the war against the terrorists. And so he comes to Ouagadougou for help, and they say, yeah, we'll send you help, but it never comes. And that's that kind of limpid, what's the word? There's a mentality, especially in people who have been educated and are working in the state. They kind of take things very casually. They are lethargic, but they also tend to be the ones whom the West uses to infiltrate movements in our country. So that's something that we have to be aware of. And I think and that's why the issue of thinking is really important. We Africans on the ground, the people outside the infrastructure, have to learn our history and learn and know each other's histories, not just of our countries, but of the entire continent, so that when these stories are brought to us through paid journalists, we are aware of what is happening. Because I think one of the things that has been very clear over the last number of decades is that even though the US has weapons, it cannot fight. They always get troops from elsewhere to do their fighting. Wherever the US has gone to fight on its own, it has not won. And so what they do is that if they're going to Iraq or they're going to Libya or they're going to Haiti, they'll get other countries to do that work for them. I think that's a weakness that we can take advantage of, because it means that for them to be able to fight, they have to find people to convince to fight on their behalf. And that's a thinking issue. It means that there are people who are predisposed to believing the American story and fighting on America's behalf. So the issue is not just financial, that many African leaders have seen their colleagues being humiliated and killed in such a beastly manner that they don't want to end up there. There's that. But there's also the fact that many Africans believe the American story. And this is, I see David talking a lot about this in the Nigerian case. And in Kenya, I think it's a very big problem. In fact, just before the senator, no, sorry, before Michael Langley went to the US Senate to talk about the Sahel and especially about Burkina Faso, there were already ripples happening in the Kenyan political sphere, where Kenyan journalists and Kenyan politicians were attacking Traoré, and I don't think it's a coincidence. And one of their talking points is, of course, the coup. You know, why did they use a coup? A coup is not legitimate. And if you try to mitigate and say, but what were their options? Look at the landscape that is there in the region. They say, oh, you're just excusing. It's a very liberal kind of argument, which now takes me back to what I'm saying about the school system. It has produced a lot of Africans who are sympathetic to these liberal, disconnected, decontextualized understandings of African history. I'm also I think Kenya is a country to watch, partly because we are a very psyoped country. We not only have US bases here, but we also our political language is very, very, very much controlled by the state organs and by intelligence and by the education system. So when you hear elite Kenyans talking against Traoré, then you know that's probably a plant, that something has been planted there, and it's something that people should watch out for. I think, let me just finish by saying how excited I am by this moment to see Africans coming together on one issue. We have talked about this, dreamt about it, sang about it, and yet on yesterday, people came out in Jamaica, in the US, and in different capitals of Africa to support what the Alliance of Sahel States is doing. And this is a momentum that we should take advantage of through the different kinds of mobilization that we can do, be it military, be it information, be it mobilizing, all that. And I think it's really important. I think Dr. Ibrahim said this. It's really important that we manage the stories, because the US can have 10,000 arsenals in it has 10,000 weapons in its arsenal, but it cannot fight unless people are convinced about their agenda. And that's what we have to fight against with the narratives. I'm also concerned a little bit about I would like to hear what everyone, others on this in this space, think about how come it is we are talking about Traoré. Why is the US focused on Traoré? Because there's a disadvantage that they want to hype one person so that we forget about the unity, and we make this a very individualist, like a star kind of thing, and we forget that the agenda is unity and a common politics. So I haven't yet decided what my position is on that, but that's something I'm concerned about. So thank you very much for this space, and Viva Africa, Viva.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Njoya. And before I go to Dr. Masanga, actually, I don't know if he's still on the space. I'm going to throw at you. And this question has to do with weaponization of media and civil society spaces in Africa. Now, I'm sure we don't need to go over how USAID and associated organizations have essentially seized full control over most of what we think of as journalism in Africa and civil society space as well, and how that has been used in multiple ways and on multiple occasions to carry out both soft and hard, regime change operations, to shape policy, to basically interfere with the internal workings of our countries from top to bottom in every conceivable way, up to and including deciding who the head of state should be. Now, now that we, the regular people, happen to have a weapon that can be used in response, which is the internet, multi-directional media. Now that CNN and the BBC and the Voice of America no longer set the narrative for the world, and in fact, we, thanks to Mr. Trump, the Voice of America doesn't even exist anymore.
Mhm.
Now that we have a sort of window of opportunity, because it seems as if the empire is in a period of flux. There's a bit of infighting going on, and we have the weapon that we have. Over the next, say, 24 to 48 months, practically speaking, what can we do to push this forward?
Well, I didn't see that one coming, but I will give it my best shot. I think I need to put it out there that there is no independent media anywhere. Um, I've been with most of the so-called international media houses. I mean, I've been with the BBC, I've been with Bloomberg, CNBC, and the West. So there is an independent media out there, and if I want to give you an example of how multidimensional and how the media landscape has changed, is that I'm actually, on a spaces with a very good friend of mine, a young brother who is facing treason charges in Nigeria for the work that he did in the media space, in the media game, for exposing a fraudulent president, right? So this is what is frustrating the so-called traditional media, because all it takes is that now everybody is almost a journalist. There is citizen activism. I mean, like we saw with the incident that happened in Kenya, with the shooting, uh, because of the vibrancy of the Kenyan digital footprints. I mean, everything that was happening now is actually coming back to haunt those that pulled the trigger and the victims. So where we are now, and I mean, going back to what Dr. Musa said, we should never lose this momentum, because we can easily you know uh, change this game from where it is now to being a ground activation. Um, I mean, for instance, I've coined a term that is called a democratic coup, which is my description of what happened in the Sahel states. And with those that I work with in the media space, I never accept anybody calling them a junta government. They are not. Okay, to me, it was a hybrid of a revolution, with a gun. Okay, so where we are now, we've got the potential to take the power from the bureaucrats, using these very, same platforms, and energize the base, energize the revolution, give this power, especially to the youth. I mean, I've got tremendous respect for the young people of Kenya, and I hope the youth in Nigeria, in Zimbabwe, and other parts of Africa can actually see how we can transform digital activism into um, something that is pragmatic. Again, coming back to the role of media, I mean, I would say that um, the reason why Russia today is off one of the biggest, distribution platforms, um, well, in Africa, it's exactly that. I mean, Russia today is off multi-choice, right? It's part of controlling the narrative. It's part of controlling, what goes out there, because obviously them having a voice which is presenting alternative views was a point of discomfort. But with that ban, it comes across other innovative ways of getting, our stories across. Look at Africa Stream, the way the Western powers came after them, right? A small media house which was seen as a threat. So I think, in all honesty, David, I can say that we are now in a space where we are very much empowered. I don't know if you saw my other tweet where I said we are now the media, not necessarily who we are working for, but we are now the media, because you find one account with perhaps 20 million impressions in a day or two. I mean, between me and you, we easily pull those numbers. So I think it's the power that we should use with a certain levels of responsibility. And for us, to get to where we are now, it's through media interactions. I think me and you once had our issues, and I think we actually once blocked each other, but we found ourselves working together when Tinubu came, into the space, and we found each other and we started working on this thing. The guys in Burkina Faso, they knew me from 6, 7 years ago, because I've never changed my profile picture from day one. It has always been that of Thomas Sankara, right? When I spoke to one of the generals, he actually said the time then they started seeing some of my posts, they were still very junior officers in the barracks. But these are guys that are now running Burkina Faso. So we should never underestimate, the power that we hold in our hands. And I mean, I was saying even to Dr. Musa, who I respect, for the guidance, for the mentorship, and for all the support that he has given us, to say this shouldn't just be another, talk shop. I mean, where we talk and nothing happens. We need to come out of here with pragmatic, implementable, measurable results, so that at least we can spur on, the revolution that we have started across Africa. That's what I can say for now.
Thank you very much, Ali. I don't know, is Dr. Masanja back on the space? He doesn't appear to be back. I'm going to
He's
open up
back.
the space
He's
in
back. He's there.
limited fashion. Okay, I can't seem to find him.
He
Give me a
has
sec.
requested the mic. Let me see if I can. Right, there we go.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've just brought him up. We've also got Benga Aborowa in the house. I've just brought him up. For those who don't know him, he's a news anchor at News Central, which is one of Nigeria's largest 24-hour TV stations, and he's also a committed Pan-Africanist, which again is rare in the Nigerian media space. Not many people are brave enough to be that, believe it or not, because Nigeria is that kind of place. So welcome to the panel, Benga, and I think Dr. Masanga will go first if he's ready to speak.
Yes, I am here.
All right.
Dr. Masanga is a regular on News Central, and I've known him for years now, so I would yield the floor to him. Thank you, David.
Okay. First of all, David and my African man from Zimbabwe, the rest of you, Sophie, Shabalala, my brother from Libya, Kim Muhera, the rest of you, Maj, the honorable ministers, presidents. I've seen about 4 presidents in the platform down there listening to us tonight. I am one of the few people in Africa who doesn't fear and who doesn't lie. I say it as it is. If you want to kill me, I've reached the stage to die. And God will know he gave me good 69 years to live on planet Earth. One, we have talked, and I liked the speech of Admiral the Shabalala. One of the problems that Africans have is we don't speak out. We don't have people who speak out when things are bad. They are gone. They are gone. Mugabe is gone. Kaunda is gone. The last one went away. We have nothing now. We have people who want to solve problems of others. Me, I'm not going to speak like an academic here now. I'm speaking as an African who first got a gun in 1978 to fight Idi Amin. Yes, at that age, I did not fear. I walked on foot. I am happy that Moussa is here today. How many people remember Gaddafi? How many people have named Gaddafi street in their towns? Gaddafi left everything. At least he made a mark somewhere, everywhere in African country. In my country, we have mosques, hospitals, churches built by Gaddafi. But how many presidents remember him? If you ask them about the Gaddafi, they even scratch their heads in that hall of theirs, or AU, where they go for photos. Now, let me be very honest. The first attack for me is the attack on African Union. African Union is dead, ready for burial or waiting to be buried. Is captured. Hello, David. Is captured. People like there are some presidents who should not be in African Union. Starting with Tinubu. Tinubu shouldn't even come to African Union. To do what? To do what? And the people are talking here. Tinubu is the man plotting, logistically, supplying a regime change in Burkina Faso. Tinubu went to France for 2 weeks. This coup. And he has already, you know, what is he going to do? What? What? What will he do to us? To some of us? He can threaten David, but not military men like us who have also picked guns. Don't threaten people. Tinubu is #1 enemy for West African ECOWAS. The second enemy for Burkina Faso is the Burkina Faso president who took over Ivory Coast. Yeah. I and Mbeki were the last people to depart Abidjan, trying to plead. The French just came installed Ouattara. That Mafiki Zolo. Ouattara. I went to fight David. I fought so hard in the ICC. I stood, I walked, I traveled, I stood outside ICC with my age fighting for Babugo to be released. I was telling people Babugo had no case. This man was, if you are taking Babugo to ICC, you should have taken Ouattara, because Ouattara was not fighting with water. Ouattara was fighting with guns, and the Babugo was fighting with guns. Why didn't you take them too? We are here. Now, you see another war is coming, David, around that region. Watch. You know why? Ouattara is a Burkinabe. You people fear to talk. He's not an Ivorian. Yes, I found the truth. We found the truth. We found the truth. This is from Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, that's why he wants to overthrow and go there, because here he extended the term limit, age limit. You saw he attempted to extend the term limit. Then he went for age. Oh, I'm not 86. These are some of the creatures that Africa should not allow anywhere near African Union. Now, if a coup is coming from, what does the law, what does the Charter of African Union say? You can suspend a member state, but Article 4.8, chapter, read the chapter. I don't need to, even if you are taking me to the grave, I will recite it for you for free. 4.8 says the state remains a member state. Has AU spoken? No. We went and put a lumpen from Djibouti. A French mall from Djibouti. I'm honest. Listen to me, leaders who are here who voted for a lumpen, a French mall. And then we again voted another French mall. You see Algeria attacking Mali? What is the problem here? I'm not going to talk academics. I have a lot of that. Yes, I went to the same universities where these guys molested everybody here. That even if you give me an exam with Trump, I will beat him in political science. He can't, he doesn't know. Some theories. But I can write when I've closed my eyes. The only problem he defeats me is he has money and he's white. Therefore, I stand my ground. Look at these people. Look at them. Look at these guys. You younger men. Look, rise up. Look at these guys. Look at what they did in African Union. Instead of saying a man who can walk and say, hey, Traoré, come here and sit down. We have brought a man who recites, who actually accepts French. He's a French puppet. Djibouti is a French nation, organized by the French, supplied by the French. Even the bread eaten is from France. So now you bring such a man, you think he's going to talk about his master? Who has captured the African Union? The French. For 8 years, a tall guy, a Fulani from Chad, called Mahamat Faki. I'm bringing it out so that the people know. Who killed Idris? Who killed Idris? Who killed Idris? Idris goes to the front line. A rebel force in Libya. Where's Moussa? Moussa, listen to me. General Khalifa Haftar has 30,000 men in Libya, south of Libya. That 30,000 men are disturbing the Nile corridor. Don't come here to, this. Who is arming them? France. Who's arming them? UAE. I am here speaking from The Hague. I am in The Hague. I am in Hague here. I listen to the case of Sudan versus UAE. What will you do? What? Did you take me to school that I will know I should not come to listen to this case? I listen. You know that case on Monday. Breaking news. You watch, you'll see. Who arms these people? The same uniforms that kill us in Somalia are the same uniforms that Qatar wears. So to Al-Shabaab break these stores to steal uniform. Hey, don't be stupid, Africans. Rise up. Rise up. Look at this. AU. That point is finished. The AU is moribund. Is dead. Is a photo show. Presidents who are not down here, listen to me. What will you do? You are my age. Listen to me. You are lying to this younger man. You go there for photos and showing your perfumes, smelling each other. Why, if you were going there for serious business, why don't you suspend Mr. Tunubu? What is he doing there? Why don't you suspend Paul Biya? What is he doing there? What's Paul Biya doing there when he doesn't even know where he is? Paul Biya is massacring people as we speak now in southern Cameroon. He's killing people. More people have died in southern Cameroon. Who's talking? They have left this Masanga only in court here in ICC in where? Let me come to Moussa. Resolution 1973 of the United Nations Security Council, which my sister Sophie talked about, mandated NATO to protect civilians in Libya. I want you to tell me which civilian did Mr. Sarkozy protect? Mr. Sarkozy stole money from Libya. 4 billion euros. Is there anybody amongst you here following Sarkozy apart from this man speaking to you? Sarkozy was sentenced for 3 years. I labored. I put in my amicus curiae. I don't know whether most of you know what an amicus curiae is. A friend of the court saying, this man stole Gaddafi's money. Then he went and reported Gaddafi that he had nuclear weapons. Where are the nuclear weapons? Where are they, Moussa? Where are they? Who kept them? Since then, David and African, look at the scenario. We have moved. People have moved on. Let's move on. Let's move on. I don't want to attack South Africa today. I'm in a good mood because I would attack that gentleman called Zuma. I know what he did. Sophie, I will not go there today. We are in a good mood today. He called his ambassador. And you know what Zuma did? South Africa was given arms by Libya to fight apartheid. If Zuma had told his ambassador to abstain, the motion would have collapsed. May God help him also. He didn't. Sophie was very diplomatic. Said the ambassador told them when you're an ambassador, you saw a mistake, then you say you are voting. No. If German abstained, Brazil abstained, India abstained, the motion was going to collapse. NATO would have not come with their guns. But look here, African countries, including that it was that man there. Who was the president then? This guy, this man with a hat in your country. David, what is his name? Good luck, or good bad Johnson. What is his name? That's something like that.
Good luck, Jonathan.
Yeah, these are the people who should not walk. When you see them that they are supervising elections in Africa, my fault. Which elections? These are the people authorizing nations to vote against their fellow nation. Resolution 1973 mandated protection. Dr. Moussa, were you protected? Have you followed up? You are a journalist yourself. Can you is fit if he can have so many concubines every night? How can he not be fit to serve 1 year sentence custodial? And I blocked it last week. This week, actually. It is Tuesday. I blocked it. The judges accepted. Check. They accepted. You don't play about with Matanga. We accepted. Let's discuss. This guy should not make any entry in the European court. He has killed Libyans. Look at Libya. Let him, look. Okay, they find you with 4 billion euros. Why don't we return the 4 billion euros to the Libyans? This money must be returned. I'm not looking for it myself to go in my pocket. I want the money returned to the Libyan people. They have divided Libya into two, Benghazi and Tripoli. How do you say you are African unity, you African Union, my foot, and you have two people governing a country? Where is African Union? Let me go to the other point. Dishonesty. All these conflicts in Africa happened because our leaders are dishonest. Let's look at the conflict of DRC Congo. The rebels are dishonest. The presidents, the neighboring countries, all of them. Show me one country that does not receive diamonds. David and African. And my fellow colleagues who are here. You have pinpointed on one small country because it had done very well. Rwanda has done very well. We had Dr. Matanga. Kagame found me in a camp. He's younger than me. He's 65, I'm 69. He found me in Tabora. And I'm not going to point fingers at him. He's a soldier like Matanga. Therefore, I'm not going to point fingers at him. But look at all countries surrounding. There's 9 neighbors of DRC Congo. All of them benefit from DRC. Why do you accuse only one? We are not honest. The government in Congo itself, these are part of the problems. Before I come to my friend Traoré. I visited. I'll tell you the story. Look, everybody, even the government, Tshisekedi is not honest. There are 240 standing armies in DRC Congo, ladies and gentlemen. Only you are talking about one. Now, how you solve 239? Are you not, unless you went to a school compound, but you never went to a classroom? If your father dropped you in a school compound and you never went to a classroom, it is your problem. Go back and study. All people are not honest at all. The rebels are not honest. Let me tell you frankly on this platform, the rebels are fighting for a state. Can I repeat that? The rebels are fighting for a state. They are not telling you. Then if you don't tell me, I've told Uhuru Kenyatta, get out. Get out of this mess. He's my friend. If people, rebels come to the table, I've listened to all these discussions when they were in Nairobi. I've listened to the discussions. All these peace talks you see. Look at Sudan. David, look at Sudan. We go. I was in Geneva with RSF and this other team when during Biden's term, when they called us to Geneva. These groups don't come in to talk because they are dishonest. America accuses Kenya of giving safety to RSF, but America and Saudi Arabia give shelter to Burhan. To Burhan in Jeddah. Why do you stop Kenya from also organizing the other group to go and fight and to go and sit on table? Every rebel commander has a base where to sit. I have negotiated a war. I ended the Northern Uganda War of Konyi. This is the man speaking, the one who went and spoke to Konyi 21 times, said, it is over. You can go wherever you go, no more guns. But every side assured us, frankly, said, we are funded, we are the ones giving Konyi guns. President Museveni himself, he's here, or some people are here, he will tell you, we went to Kampala, he told us, I was the one funding SPLA to fight Bashir. So from today, I'm not giving SPLA any more guns. Sincerity. The war ended. We put Konyi on table. He signed the 5 agreements. Americans wanted to kill him. I am not an international policeman to look for Konyi. Those who want to look for him, my mandate was to bring peace to Uganda. And that peace is holding. 17 years passed, no gunshot has ever been rung. That's how they do a peace process. The dishonesty is what kills Africa. Number 3, wrong charter. Africa has a wrong charter. That's why now we find ourselves, AU has a wrong charter. That's why we find ourselves leaving a younger man in Burkina Faso naked. We can't some people can't defend him because of a wrong charter. The Charter of African Union was made in 1963, David. Some of you on this platform were not even born. We still have a wrong charter in place. Yes, that's a wrong charter. It can't work today. In the current situation of a madman from Atlantic Ocean across, it can't work. You sell your visa for $50 and you call yourself African Union. $50. You sell your visa. America takes our money from this continent every day in Kampala, Uganda. 5,000 people line up at American embassy for visa to America. America gives only 500 out of 5,000. 4,500 non-refundable money. Are you Africans? Did you go to school, some of you here? Kaskwed, I can see you here. Did you go to school, all of you? Honorable Kaskwed. Where does this money go? 4,500 times
The disaster.
4,000. Honorable Kaskwed. $4,500 for people times $200 per visa of non-refundable money. How many embassies over America in Africa? How much money do they collect for us, which they don't refund? And when there is earthquake, they say we are giving us aid. They are giving us our own money. Now, Africa, with Kruger National Park in South Africa. Listen, Kruger Park. There is no Musungu who has an animal that looks like the one in Kruger Park. They come to see our animal. Raise the visa. Don't tax the people. Raise the visa $1,000 per visa. Children 500. You'll have the clean crop of Bazungu coming to your country. You don't know what to do. You are fighting people. You are taxing people, overburdening people. So that chapter must change to protect Honorable Ibrahim Traoré. I've been to Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali six times. At least in Burkina Faso, I've seen. I want anybody here to put up your hand from any country where you have 800 ambulances with doctors inside. Do you have your country, how many ambulances motorized that can go with doctors, 2 doctors, 3 nurses, and other people with operational, with equipment, medicine that can drive in the villages? Ture has bought them. They are there. Tractors, they are there. I've seen them in Ogadudu. How many of you from Nigeria can get $10,000 out of Tunubu's bank to go and take your patient to China? To India. How many? To get $10,000 out of Nigerian bank, you need to feed a bank manager tea, plus on top of this dinner. Then he tells you come on Tuesday. In Niger, across, ladies and gentlemen, to get $10,000 is 25 minutes. You have $10,000, you are going. Is that a bad military regime? Is it a bad military regime? I agree with Sophie when he said time has come to engage these guys, these younger men. Tunubu is the one who caused all this blunder. He threatened these younger men. You can't threaten a military man when you're a civilian who has been selling cocaine in the US and threatening people like David because they are looking for your history of cocaine. And you woke up with big traces around Africa that I'm a president of. President of what? You have sold cocaine. Then you walk around and say, I'm president of Nigeria. Which Nigeria? Nigeria is not a country. Nigeria is a zoo where people are killing each other every day. And you come here, you tell us Nigeria. Now, which Nigeria? People come and occupy your farm and kill you, kill your wife, and then that they are herders. Where are these herders coming from? Nigeria has got only 20 million cows. India has 300 million cows. Now, India manages its cows better than this zoo. This is zoo where people are being killed every day. You wake up, Benga interviews me on the TV. 200 people abducted by, who might this one? Oh, they kidnapped. What the hell is this in Africa? Who is going to speak for Africa? Let me come to the last point. We have new colonial masters. The Gulf states. The money we steal on the African continent, we bank there. Now, we steal it on African continent and then go and bank it in Dubai, in Qatar. Let me ask you people, you Africans who are here, if Qatar knows where every terrorist is, Why does America harass us who don't know where these terrorists are? Can an African country host a meeting called Hamas? Maybe the general from South Africa can answer me. Can you host Hamas? If you try to go to Hamas, they will bomb you. Now, Qatar, whenever you see Qatar, whenever you see Total Oil, you will see Qatar. Cape Delgado, the South Africans should know this. There was no oil in Cape Delgado. Ladies and gentlemen, Total Oil went to look for chaos. Look for chaos. And they created chaos there. We withdrew. And the Al-Shabaab masters called Qatar. Even if you give me $1 million to settle in Qatar, I would rather go to the grave if it is near. There are some countries in Africa, even if you tell me to go and settle like America, what for? America is a violent place. Everybody opens the wardrobe with guns. Is this a place where you want to settle? It's better to die in a place, civilized place. But America is not worth it. So for me, let me tell you the truth. This new capture that is coming from the Gulf states, most of you who are researchers, go to Doha. When you go to Doha and you know Arabic, ask some Arab man on the street, what is this office? He will tell you, this is the office of Taliban. Huh? Taliban. What is this one? This is the office of Al-Shabaab. Huh? Then you say, but Americans are telling us, look for Al-Shabaab, 10 billion or 3 million head. Look at the double standards. So coming down to White Traoré is your light, is your star, is our shining star, Africans, old, young, middlemen, youth, women. This man is our star. We must rise up, create more platforms, David, of this nature, to talk and tell Americans we are fed up. You touch the man, all of us. You know people can take action. Yes, you Americans are everywhere. Yes, they're everywhere. You touch Mr. Traoré when he's buying ambulances for his people. You talk of gold. You know one of the biggest mistakes as I learned, one of the biggest mistakes in all these European countries, I have lived in the United Kingdom for 40 years. But if you are arrested by a Jamaican policeman, stopped for driving, speeding, he will take you to court because he wants to get promotion. But if you are arrested by a Mzungu and you tell him, sir, I'm sorry, I was rushing because my child, the school was going to take him to social services, they will allow you. Our fellow black people like that general, called general legally, you know, this, once you are a slave, you have a problem. I have never been a slave. But look at this, I'm sorry to go that way, David. This slave mentality has caught us. This guy says he wants to arrest gold. Whose gold is it? Has Trump got a share in the gold of Burkina Faso? Has he? Have we got a share in Minnesota? Have we got a share in Miami? Have we got a share in Arizona? Have we got a share in California? This is our continent. Why should somebody come to come and tell us whose democracy? David, don't write democracy anymore. Write African democracy. You're a very good guy. You are knowledgeable. Afrikaner, write African democracy. There is not American democracy anymore. The democracy in America is transitional. Not transition, transactional. Transactional democracy. The type of saying, give me minerals, I will give you guns. To go and do what? The guns are going to kill people. The guns are going to kill Congolese. Now they have signed an agreement with Ukraine, oil, transactional democracy. What type of democracy that you want to tell people that Toure is not practicing in? Why should AU be blindfolded by France, captured by France, manipulated by France, engineered by France? France has killed more people in the Biafran War. 1967, most of you were young. Some of us were grown-ups a bit. We could understand the war. The hammering of the agreement of 1967 war, end of war, was done in my country, Uganda. My country, my president I served, Dr. Milton Obote, supported Biafra. The biggest problem that we have on this continent as I land is Nigeria. Nigeria needs to be rearranged. Congo needs to be rearranged. Let's be very honest. Let's start talking. You cannot, even if you go to Jesus and ask for mercy, to the nearest angel called Gabriel, ladies and gentlemen, there will be no peace in Congo. If you don't give a state, watch it. Even if you go again and ask Angel Gabriel whether there will be peace in Nigeria, there will be no peace in Nigeria until you rearrange it politically. Political solution, not a judicial, not army. You can't use army to kill people. Nigerian army kills civilians instead of protecting them. All the series of News Central, I've seen in women crying, saying, we reach roadblocks. It is not the rebels. It is not anybody. The army itself is killing people. So this is my speech. Pray for me, like Lucky Dube. Remember me. Because time has come for someone to speak out like me. I'm reaching the age where God can call me. But I want to leave a legacy that I spoke my mind. That is, I will block Mr. Sarkozy. I will make sure that he goes to jail to serve, to carry a pail of his own cow dung, as the lady said, carry it out and pour for having destroyed Libya. I will make sure that we get the freedom that the people of Biafra, Amazonia, and the DRC Congo, and the Sudan get. I am there. I'm not going to give up. France always threatens people. There is one message I want to tell you, David, as I land. Whenever you see Obasanjo, run. Kaskwele is here. Will tell you that Obasanjo run is not a good. If you see an agreement where Obasanjo is involved, bad luck. Run. Run. The South Africans say run mafrupe. What? A Soviet is run mafrupe. What is that, man? Run, run. That South African Shabalala, Madam Admiral, they, whenever you see Obasanjo, run, run. David, I cannot tell you the story of Obasanjo here. When we went to negotiate the Kunda thing, what he did, I am not, I'm sorry. But whenever Run. Because peace will. Thank you, my brothers and sisters on the platform. Tears are dropping. Let me, I don't know what to say, but my Africa betrays itself every day. My Africa is a place where we have plenty.
Packed submission as always. We really should go back to having those weekly sessions with our friend from Kenya. So this space was actually supposed to end at the top of the hour, but we've I think we've gone 13 minutes over time. But I noticed that Benga is still on the speakers panel. So I think before I invite Ali and the other speakers to give a few closing remarks and close the space, I think we'll just quickly bring Benga up. So Benga, over to you.
Thank you very much, David, and thanks for the opportunity to speak. I would like to say a big thank you to you and Ali for hosting the space. I don't even have the words to qualify. It's an awakening, and we should do this regularly. David and I went to the same high school, by the way, Great Atlantic Hall. I would also like to say a big thank you to your namesake, Dr. David Matsanga. I've had the privilege of interviewing him a few times. Very passionate Pan-African. You heard the way he just spoke now. And also Dr. Moussa Ibrahim. Dr. Ibrahim, thank you very much for your mentorship, your advice, and thank you for always being there for us all these years. Ali, Dr. Matanga, Sophie McQueen, and also the Admiral, and all the previous speakers. What I want to speak about is an African awakening, an African renaissance, and for Africans to hold up their heads and be proud of who they are. Africa is not the dark continent. They should own the narrative. And I feel that's where media and education comes from. So I feel the way we can spark this African renaissance, and also that I love the fact that a lot of young Africans are celebrating Captain Ibrahim Traoré. I've always been a Sankarist. I feel Thomas Sankara was one of the greatest Africans that walked uh, on the face of the earth. He was way ahead of his times. I remember doing an interview with Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, Nigeria's former foreign minister. And before he got mic'd up, we were just talking about history and things that happened, and Sankara came up. He said a French journalist told him, a French female journalist, that they're going to kill Sankara in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. Sankara was a friend. I mean, Bolaji Akinyemi was foreign minister, but Sankara was also a friend. So Bolaji Akinyemi came back and told then President General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, that please, you have to save this guy's life. You have to do something about it. You can't allow them to kill Sankara, send Nigerian troops, use the excuse of a military exercise. And Babangida told him that, Bolaji, I know you're a good man. If you were sitting on this seat, you might take that decision, but it's beyond me. And I think Sankara knew his end was coming. They told him that Blaise Compaoré, who the West supported, who do you think they would say he was democratic? They support the worst of Africans, and they want to decide which leaders we should support. I mean, look at Paul Biya and Obiang in Equatorial Guinea. How do you even listen? Who the US doesn't? I mean, just watching that video of General Michael Langley of Africa.com calling Traoré a threat to his own people, that he's using the resources to keep himself in power, made my blood boil. I was really, really angry. Who the hell is the United States of America to dictate to Africa? Like, we don't have agency on which leaders we should love or which, I mean, and even the French president Macron the other day was saying it's not yet time that we can be on our own now. Very paternalistic and condescending tones. It's really sad. And the reason why we allow all this sort of rubbish is because we don't know our value. We don't know our place in history. We don't know the potentials we have. We're just happy to be handed down crumbs, or we need some Western validation to prove that, yes, we've arrived. You want to oppress your neighbor. I'm better than my next neighbor. It's really sad. And I think it starts from education. I'll recommend uh, a book, and I'll recommend you can just go on YouTube and listen to Professor John Henry Clark. He wrote Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, Slavery and the Rise of European Capitalism. I think it would inform you. And I mean, looking at the historical perspective, you understand why we are where we are today. And it would give you a sense of who we really are, the empires that existed in the past, the inventors, the great things that has been done on this continent, and the terrible things that also happened. The African Holocaust, the slave trade, the Congo, King Leopold, and all of that. These things have effects on what we are experiencing today. And the fact that the so-called West, and it's interesting that in this space so far, nobody has mentioned what is happening now. I'm glad somebody, I think it was Dr. Matsanga and previous speakers, spoke about the UAE's involvement in Sudan in supporting the worst of the worst, the Janjaweed, the RSF. Sudan is a shadow of what it used to be today because of foreign interference. Just 2 weeks ago, there was a conference on Sudan in London by all those trying to get their hands on a piece of Sudan. There was no single Sudanese person, none of the belligerents were present, RSF or Sudanese armed forces. Please, how do you explain that in 2025? It was very reminiscent of the Berlin Conference of 1885. You're discussing Sudan in London, not a single Sudanese from both warring parties or even civilians were present in that meeting. It just shows you the state of the world we are in. And that brings me to this. As we speak, there is a live stream genocide that is happening. The United States, Europe, they have no moral authority whatsoever. They've lost it. They need to get off that. I mean, the horse, there's no moral high horse. There's no horse anymore. Gaza has opened the hypocrisy and has really put these Western countries in front of a mirror. A busload of children die every day. They're killed in Gaza, and we watch football. The world just goes on like nothing happens. And this is engineered by Europe and the United States, supporting, giving 100% support to Israel. So tell me, how do we even move from there? What rights do they have to lecture any country about what Traoré is doing or anything? Just look at what you're doing in Gaza. And it will always be a pivotal moment for human history. So, I mean, just to wrap up my thoughts, I think we don't have true independent African media. You have African stations that just pick up what they see from the wire services, AFP. They describe, I mean, some of the words they used to describe impoverished African nation, tiny Madagascar, war torn. I mean, who describes America as genocide supporting United States of America? I think we should start using that term. Or the United States of America with lax gun laws where people just mass killing, shootout, United States of America. And you see African media organizations using this sort of negative terms to describe their fellow African countries. While we don't even have like a powerhouse independent true African media right now, my appeal is that please, for education's sake, do just, you can watch your BBC, you can watch Al Jazeera, you can watch CNN, but also there's something the pre-Socratics used to do. It's called dialectics. They're trained to argue both sides of an argument. Listen to the other side. Watch RT, watch Telesur, watch Press TV, watch TRT World, and then make your judgment, make your informed judgment yourself. And please read. There's so much material. You don't even need to read. Just watch Oxford Union debates. Go on YouTube. It's the I think it's an online university. You can learn so much from it. And you would see that spark will be ignited and you begin to understand the way things work. And please also, let's try and educate and talk to like what we're doing now is very educative and I like it. So I mean, tiny drop, an ocean is built from tiny drops, and I think we've laid the foundation. We should build on it, and it shouldn't just end as a talk shop. Let's practicalize it, like all the previous speakers have suggested, and really do something. I am proudly African, and I believe great things will still come from this continent in my lifetime. And let's support Burkina Faso and also look at the quality of leaders that we elect, that we're not electing Western stooges and puppets. Thank you.
That was Benga Borowa, news anchor at News Central, which is, well, I'm not going to rank it, but one of Nigeria's foremost 24-hour news stations. So I think that's all the speakers on our panel. I'm not sure what happened to Ali. He seems to have dropped off again. But I'll just quickly give the mic back to Dr. Kainsile Litchfield Shabalala to give her closing remarks, and then I'll give it to Sophie, then Kim Heller, then Wandia, Joya. Oh, I see Xavier Kasukwe is on the speakers panel. Oh dear, we're really going to finish this space today. I think we should give him 2 or 3 minutes to quickly chime something in before we start to close the space. So over to you, Xavier. Are you there? Oh, seems to be having some trouble. Hello? Okay. Okay, so I think we'll revert to what we're planning to do previously. So Dr. Litchfield Chabalala, please, just like a minute or two.
Thank you so much, David. What a space, what a revolution, and what seeds we are planting here. Let's never forget to water them. I think I want to leave us with two thoughts. The first thought is that I'm so tired of talking about our leaders. They're my minute part of society. The bigger part of society are us, the citizens, the voters. And it is my proposition that when the soil is not arable, when the soil is not productive, it will never produce good seed. We produce the leaders we produce because we ourselves need to do some reckoning with ourselves. We need to transform us, the soil, so that this soil can produce the leaders that we deserve. We cannot elect Cyril Ramaphosa and then start asking for Pan-African and Afrocentric solutions. I mean, the two things don't go together. It's madness. So let us investigate ourselves first before we point fingers at them. They come from us. They're a reflection of who we are. So I like this space because it's exactly what we are doing. We are planting in ourselves as a people. And number two, I just want to say I love Traoré and all. I'm actually going back to Burkina Faso next week. But can we please not do the Western thing of classism? Can we remember that there is General Chiani in Mali, there is in Niger, there's Colonel Goita in Mali. The three are a collective. They are working together. That's why they are called the Confederation of Sahel States, AES in French. That's the acronym. So while we concentrate all our energy on Traore, they might just do us one and actually go for the other two because all our focus is on Burkina Faso. It's good, but let's remember there are three countries and not one. And I think the very last thing I want to say is we don't have independent media. We don't have all the things we said we don't have because Africans, we don't have the two integrities. We don't have territorial, we don't have national integrity. Therefore, there's no self-determination. And when people don't have self-determination, they are controlled. And truly, like dogs controlled by a master, we are set on each other at will. We are told when to fight each other, how to fight each other, because we don't even produce the weapons. We are told what economies to have. We are told what the currencies of our nations are going to be vis-a-vis the dollar or the euro or the pound. So can we start fighting for self-determination? Can we start fighting for territorial integrity and for national integrity? Can we stop deluding ourselves about independence that's not translating to self-determination? Thank you so much once again, and thank you to all the panelists and everybody who listened in.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rufus Shabalala. I think next on my speakers panel here is Sophie Mokoena.
Well, thank you so much. I just want to say there are lessons that we must learn from the previous incidents. And when we talk about Burkina Faso, I remember going to Burkina Faso. I was on assignment. The former president was there of South Africa. One thing I observed, I think Dr. Matara spoke about that, was that I think Ivory Coast will never rest until they have full control of Burkina Faso. Because even at that time, Blaise Compaoré was very instrumental in dividing Ivory Coast. So I'm not surprised today you'll find a situation where Ivory Coast might be having some interest in destabilizing Burkina Faso. That said, we as Africans, we are enemies, of ourselves, because instead of us supporting each other and building each other, working together and countries trading amongst themselves. We sometimes are part of the problem. You look at the Great Lakes region, it's Africans who are also part of the external forces or force that is causing mayhem in the DRC. Look, after South Africa lost 14 soldiers, now we are told um, the very same leaders have decided to listen to the United States of America. America didn't even lose one soldier. So, unfortunately, I don't know. I think the time has come that as citizens of the continent, we must realize that we are leaders in our own right. And I agree with Dr. Shabala that let's not continue to argue about the leaders. We should ask ourselves, what am I doing to build a better Africa? And in our small way, we can build a better Africa. That should be our focus every morning when we wake up, that in my little corner, what am I going to do to build a better Africa? I agree, people might criticize us, those some of us who are in the media and say we are not independent, we're this and this. That's a misnomer. Many journalists from different parts of the continent, there are journalists who are very independent. Perhaps our voice is not heard or we are not heard. But I just want to make an example, and I think Ali is not here. He can testify or can agree with me. When ECOWAS was about to launch or to take a military action against Niger, it was a South African media that was very vocal and covering that story. And there has been communication since then that because of how we covered that story, that led to ECOWAS pulling back. So the media in this country and some of my colleagues on the continent, we do try to ensure that we are able to educate and inform the continent so that people in their respective uh, places where they are or what they are doing, they can do what is good for the continent. And some of us, as we are about to wind our activities in this industry, we've tried our level best. And I hope Africans will realize that you can't only rely on leaders to make Africa a better continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sophie Mokoena. Could you please be so kind as to mute your mic? Okay. Next on the speakers panel is Kim Heller. I think, hang on a minute. Yeah, Kim Heller. Over to you. Just quickly in a minute or two.
Thank you, David. We're very grateful for the space and hope it's going to become a regular feature because we can be our own media and you've done a wonderful job. And Sophie, we hear you. You know, you are such an amazing beacon of hope for us in South Africa. Your reporting is just outstanding. So we are deeply appreciative. I thought I would just conclude with just a few lines from a poet that I had the great pleasure to work with, Don Matera, and he wrote something that I think is so relevant to the space. He said, now I'm just looking, I've just lost it. Just give me one moment. He was speaking about how the era of white supremacy has to end. And he said, he's realized, he said, these are his words: "I have discovered, yes, that an ounce of gold exceeds the value of a black man's life," speaking about the horror of extraction. And he says, it's stand, black man, and put that cap back on your beaten head. Look at him in the eye, cold and blue, like the devil's fire, and tell him enough. 3 centuries is more than you can take. Enough. And I think that is, his words speak more than mine. Thank you for including me on the panel.
Thank you very much, Kim. Next on the panel, Sophie, your mic is not muted. I'm gonna mute everyone. Okay, that. Yeah. Okay, so next will be Dr. Njenje. Then after her will be Dr. David Masanga, then Benga Bo, and then we'll close with Dr. Moussa Ibrahim. Dr. Njenje?
All right. Thank you once again for having me on this discussion.
Sorry, we can't seem to hear you. Okay, seems like we might have lost her, unfortunately.
Hello, can you hear me?
So let's. Okay, now I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we seem to have lost Dr. Njenje again, which is very unfortunate.
Dear David.
Yes.
Could I please?
Yes, Dr.
Yes,
Ibrahim?
thank you, dear. I
Yes.
just would like to say how happy I am that I have listened to my African brothers and sisters. But please, dear David, you have such a popular and powerful platform on X. Let's think of ways to make our engagement practical and on the ground, not just discussions and intellectual entertainment. You are a genuine Pan-Africanist. And I think in the next few days and few weeks, we need to reach out to our brothers and sisters in Burkina Faso, the ones leading the revolution in the Sahel region, and demand, not speak to them softly with quoted words, but demands that they reach out back to us so we can establish a Pan-African support network for the revolution in the Sahel region. This network will be partly a digital one, online one, only partly. The rest of it will be on the ground in our universities, schools, political parties, grassroots movements, civil society. This cannot happen by just talking about it. We need yourself, dear David, our brother Ali, the rest of the speakers. We need to have a plan for the next few days to discuss how can we propose a practical, viable plan to Captain Ibrahim Traoré, to his comrades in Mali and Niger, and propose something concrete on the ground. And we need to speak to them with a revolutionary harshness, if I may say that. Meaning, it's like when you are seeing your brother in trouble, you don't come to them softly and say, "Hey, my brother, I can see that you are, facing death. Do you think it could be possible for me to help you?" That's not the way a brother approaches a brother. You force yourself, you go for it, and you go, "I am going to help you. I'm going to stand with you." And I really think all pan-African platforms that believe in unity and revolution should come together, write down a plan, and propose it to the revolutionary leaders in the Sahel region, and we should prove our worth and carry it on the ground. That's my last remark. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moussa Ibrahim. For those who joined the space late, Dr. Moussa Ibrahim was the late Muammar Gaddafi's last official spokesperson and used to be the Minister of Information in Libya. We're very privileged to have him here today. So I'm going to move on to Dr. Sorry, someone's muted. All right, we're going to move on to Dr. David Masanga, and after him, then Benga Borowa, and then we'll close the space. So, Dr. Masanga, quickly in less than 2 minutes, your closing remarks, please.
But I'm here.
Okay. I'm guessing he said all he has
No,
to say. So
you have muted me. Now I'm here.
oh, okay, all
I
right.
think
So 2 minutes.
your finger is touching that button. Today we have not misbehaved. We are good ladies and gentlemen here today. Thank you. Thank you very much, fellow Africans. I want to tell Musa that you have a follower here. You have a man who has gone ahead towards Jerusalem. Follow my work and let's fix Sarkozy. He has to go. He has to return your money. I am there. I'm ahead. 2, fellow Africans, David, encourage people. Let's come here and discuss issues like the issue of today. It's very important for us. And let's speak without fear. They have created this platform for us to speak. Even the man who created this platform is a South African, but somehow he has got lost somewhere in the woods of California. But he will come back to the roots of South Africa. So let's speak up. Let's be constructive. Let's engage other people, stakeholders. But above all, Africa needs you people, needs your voice. The AU is gone. Bananas, gone. It's gone. It's gone. Don't expect anything in 4 years. It will not. Another thing which is a blow to us as we sit here, United Nations Security Council is dead. It's dead. 2 countries fighting 3. Where is the peace? Chapter 7 is dead. So let's clean our mess on the continent. Let's clean ourselves. Let's tell our leaders, please, time has come to engage. Under me, I have the strategy of redemption strategy. Those leaders start thinking about reconciliation. It is the best tool of everything. It's the best way to forgive. Germany is today a big nation because it forgot about Hitler. One of the problems here in Africa is we don't forget, we don't even forgive, we are even fighting, even someone you see him, you want to kill him. That's not. But today, let's defend our continent. And let me tell you, David, you've done a great job today. Do you know there were 12 officials from Burkina Faso whom I told to come to this conference, to this space? They are down there, the most of top officials, they are taking notes. You will be called very soon, David yourself. They will call you. They are down here, and I know them very well. I told them, please, your country is being discussed. Come, let's support this gentleman. And as Shabarala said, there are other two there. The other one who took down the uniform and then went for a fake. Have you seen what they have done, AU? They have now started recognizing him because France has told them, recognize him. This one of Gabon, this useless guy here, he's useless. Then what is the difference? You take your uniform off and carry a sham election, then call it an election. Idiots. These are idiots. I've no good words. I'm sorry. These are not very good people. This guy of Gabon, this guy of Paul Biya, this guy of Tunubu, these are the people who should not be in the Commonwealth. And I'm happy there is a lady from Ghana, a new lady. I'm telling you, by the end of this year, some countries will be suspended from the Commonwealth, beginning with your country, David. I'm working hard in London. I am working hard, walking to that office every day to tell Madam, you are Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ghana. Suspend these guys. Suspend Ghana. Suspend Paul Biya. They are killing people. Why did you suspend Abacha? Why did you suspended Abacha from Commonwealth? Why are we not suspending Tunubu and Paul Biya? What are they doing in the Commonwealth? What will the king do to meet the King of England meeting such men where 400 girls are missing every day? Where they have taken Namdi Khan, a British national, detained How do you hide a man's tooth, the family for 64 years? And then Tshisekedi, with all his big volume of body, empty body, came and welcomed. Then why were South African troops dying for in Congo? What were they?
Dr. Masani.
Thank you, David. All the time, notify me. And Africana, notify me. I would deliver blow to such people. Do I eat at their homes? No. We can't have elders behaving very badly everywhere in Africa. I'm the chief negotiator. I am here. I'm the one in the peace. Peace can be negotiated by younger girls like Eva and Sophie and David. We can sit down and negotiate. And Africana, we can bring peace better than some of these guys. Look at recycled guys. Apart from the man of South African ministry, former vice president, former president, the rest of and Kenyatta and Uhuru Kenyatta, who is credible there? Who's credible? How can peace come in Congo? How? When you give rebels more money to go and enjoy women.
Dr. Masanga, we've gone way over
Bye, my
time.
son. Bye. Thank you.
Space.
Thank you very much, my son. By God, all of you.
Thank you very much.
Please, I'm one of the few people who should be sleeping, but I can't sleep when this continent is bleeding. Please. At my age, I have to talk until God takes me away, until we clean the continent. Thank you, David.
Thank you very much, Dr. Masanga. And I noticed there's someone else on the speakers panel who wasn't here before. There's a handle called Horn of Africa Leftist. I'm guessing that must be Ali who brought you up. So I think before we go to Benga to give his closing remarks and then we close the space, I think we'll just give you a couple of minutes since we've already brought you up to the speakers panel. So off you go.
All right, thanks, David. Yeah, so as far as the speakers, thank you for your input. To just bring it in perspective, a lot of the focus is mostly on West Africa and the development with AAC in the Sahel states, and it's a great advantage and a gain for the Horn of
We seem to have lost you. Hello?
Oh, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I'll just make it brief. My question or commentary is in regard to the larger development in West Africa and AES. There's a growing consciousness with AFRICOM, and this is a great development, and it's an advantage gain for the Horn of Africa, especially the Eritrean state. Just to give you a historical link and explanation, President Isaias Afwerki and Nelson Mandela were the two African leaders who, oh boy, the ban by Washington under the sanction that was put during the 90s. And they pretty much opposed these sanctions and visited the revolutionary Gaddafi in Libya during the 90s. They're the two African leaders who defied these orders, and that must be historic. At the same time, the link between Libya and the Horn of Africa, as far as the revolution, is important. The elders of the Horn of Africa from the Eritrea, Somalia, inside Ethiopia, were inspired by the revolutionary credo, the inspiration by the gains of 1969. So this is historic, but at the same time, we must also look into during early 2000s, it was Libya, Eritrea, Zimbabwe who were under sanction, in addition to Sudan, who were not having any links with the AFRICOM. There were not any cooperation. So right now we saw Sudan is gone. I mean, it's good. It's an honor to have Moussa on the panel, but also to just give you perspective that while West Africa is gaining momentum with AES and the Horn, there's also a larger resistance and struggle that has been taking shape the last few years. And the Eritrean state is one of the leading state that's mostly demonized by Western media. Under the leadership of President Isaias Afwerki, we saw that the U.S. aid was rejected and expelled in 2005. No AFRICOM cooperation, and also just a larger rejection of aid and the dependency. So while this is a great single in the growth of African consciousness in West Africa, this is definitely an advantage for the Horn of Africa to see our brothers in West Africa to grow and be focused on AFRICOM and the leadership and how AFRICOM has been a key player the last since 2008 as far as military, pretty much doing a heavy militarization of the continent. So I'm glad to see this development. I'm really appreciative of the presence of the speakers. But I just want to highlight that Libya and the Libyan revolution, the significance of Gaddafi is important for people to also pay attention to Horn of Africa and its development because it's all connected. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was very succinct and very illuminating. So finally, we're going to conclude with Benga Borowa, and then I'll give my little vote of thanks, and we will finally close the space. More than almost an hour over time. So Benga, over to you.
Thank you very much, David, and thanks to all the speakers that spoke before me. Very insightful and interesting conversation that we should be having. When I did speak, I spoke about the media and its role in enlightening Africans. And I mean, what I do, I'm a journalist. I work on two platforms. I work on News Central Television. I also work with Nigeria Info FM. And these two stations are mainstream stations, and they are open editorially to mainstreaming some of those conversations we've had. So my appeal to you and everyone on the panel, I mean, we're talking, and they're both based in Nigeria. So they have a wide reach and audience, and they have certain programs that tailor to this sort of discussions, and they're very accommodated towards having them. I produce, like, for example, tomorrow, we will be speaking to Dr. Moussa Ibrahim. He'll be speaking on the subject of why is the West afraid of Captain Traoré on a show I produce. It's called Borderlines. It's a current affairs program. Very interesting. We've had a list of intellects, um, international personalities. The discussions are very rich. So it's good to get the message out there. It's hosted by the brilliant Ireti Bakari Yusuf. So you can catch that from 4 to 6 p.m. on Fridays. Dr. Musa Ibrahim will be on from 5 to 6 p.m. Tomorrow, Nigerian for FM. It's audiovisual, so you can catch them on YouTube and on radio, wherever you are around the world, and also New Central TV. So I work with New Central TV and Nigerian for FM. So if you have any topics, you can DM me wherever you are on the continent and you want a platform, you want to speak about these issues. If I can't get you on any of our platforms, I can always, I should be able to accommodate you on TV or radio. I can always propose sister stations or friendly Pan African journalists that will be happy to speak to you on any of the subjects. So I guess that's a way, it's a practical way of getting the message out there beyond the internet. At least the leaders watch TV, they listen to radio, and what have you. So that's will be my conclusion. Thanks again, and Viva Africa.
Thank you very much, Derek. Benga, sorry. I sort of gave myself away there. Dario is his brother's name, and I happen to know his brother, so
Yeah.
I always mix both of them up for some very weird reason. My apologies for that. And thanks for everyone who showed up to the space today. Special thanks, obviously, to Dr. Moussa Ibrahim, who graced us with his presence. Special thanks to Dr. Kaisile Litcho Shabalala, to Kim Heller, the author of White Lies. Again, if you haven't read that book, go grab it on Amazon. Special shout out to Sophie Mokwena of SABC and Benga Borowa. It's always good to have big mainstream journalists who are brave enough to take on stories like this, because I can assure you, on the African continent, there are not many of them. So we're grateful for that. And obviously, we're grateful to Dr. David Masanga and Dr. Wanda Enjoy as well. I would have told Ali to give a few words of his own, but he appears to have disappeared. He appears to have dropped out. I'm guessing he has network issues. And I think in as much as we're trying to practicalize this, as Dr.
He's here. He's here.
Right, he's not showing up on my list at all. Ali, if you're here, can you say something? Because I can't see you. Anyway, while we're sorting that out, I'll just continue what I was saying. So I was saying, in as much as Dr. Ibrahim said, we have to, as much as possible, practicalize this and make sure that this isn't just a thing that remains an internet phenomenon, or like street protests, or just like an outpouring of emotions. It has to transcend that, and it has to become something that actually gains power, real physical power on the ground. And in as much as we're obviously going to pour every effort that we have into that, I think we should also try as much as possible to make this more of a thing going forward. Maybe not in the sense where it becomes a talk shop, which again is an unproductive thing, but maybe Ali and I will have a conversation, and the other panel members will have a conversation and try and come up with something that achieves the goal of sort of sharpening iron with iron every so often, without it becoming something that turns it into an internet phenomenon again. So thanks once. Record this like was, even if it isn't, it's also being streamed live on the West Africa Weekly YouTube channel. So if the recording is not available on Twitter, it's going to be available on YouTube immediately after this. So thanks to everyone, and let's do this again.
La 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 la.